what you're essentially trying to do with communication, okay, it is the very essence of you staying or living within human society. Okay, like I told you, your forefathers have left history behind through cave paintings, through drawings. Okay, you're trying to what do you say? You're trying to establish a link, and you're trying to understand what is the ancestry that has been left behind. Okay, art, architecture. Let's say if you ever walk down South Bombay, you literally feel history come alive. Okay, with all the buildings around there, when you see all this amazing architecture. Okay, if any of you all have traveled, let's say if you're planning to travel, let's say Udaipur, Jaipur, you don't go just to see the villages, right? You go to a place because you go and see the tourist attractions. You see the palaces, you see the things that are. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're going there majorly to see all the beautiful landscape that's there. Okay, and what this does is that it gives you an essence and a purpose, okay, in terms of what you're doing with communication. Hmm? If you have ever been to Goa, okay, try doing this. Go to Goa, and there are these small boys, okay, who are the, what do you say, tour guides, okay. They have no formal education whatsoever. You can talk to them in English, Hindi, Marathi, Russian, and German. Depending on where you come from, they can talk to you in any language, and they have no education at all. Okay, so it's just like this basic need to connect. Okay, like I told you, if you're not within the bounds of society, okay, if you're removed from society, I give you the example of the Ramayana when Ram was put into Vanvas for 14 years. Okay, that's excommunication. You've got painters like Hussein Ali. You've got there was another singer also. Hussein Haider Ali, I think so. They were both told to leave and go to Pakistan. Okay, so the idea of excommunication is to remove you from society so that then you are alienated. Alienated as in we no longer look at you as someone who's part of us. Okay, so yeah, that is the idea of excommunication. You are removed. Okay, you are told that this is where you do not belong here. Okay. Uh, Communication is derived from a Latin word. Okay, now it comes when I say it comes as a noun and a verb, I want you to understand that it's not a noun as in a thing. Okay, we say the communication works. That's a noun, right? It's a word. When you're looking at a verb is an action word. It's doing something. Okay. So therefore, communicate, what it does is that it shows you this building, it shows you this bridging gaps. Okay. It is doing the work that you wanted to do. Okay. If you're angry, what do? You use words in a very different way. If you're tired and you're sleepy, uh, even though it's just like when I say a noun, it's just words, but the action that it derives is something very, very different. Okay, it depends on what you want it to do. Yeah, we spoke last time about non-verbal communication and kind of got into that in terms of you've got facial expressions, the way you dress, the way you look, your gestures, body language, and the importance of silence. Okay. Uh, I'm assuming, considering we've got this much already sorted out, I just did that as a recap. So now we're going to be moving on to our theory. Okay. Now, these are, as I told you last time, I will be bringing theorists, okay, from the books that I've asked you to read. Okay. So, what it does is that now, even if you don't have the time to read the reference books completely, I've added information for you. Now, Givenius, Barton, and Martin and Galanis and Brilhart, They have written the definition of communication through the years. Okay, so when you, let's say, around the 70s, Bartol and Martin around the 80s, and Girard and Riak around the 90s. Okay, so you see the way the idea of communication has enlarged itself to incorporate a lot more things. Okay, it's not just transmitting in the first one. Okay, it is a lot more. It emphasizes on, let's say, exchanging of messages to make sure that there's common meaning as in you're establishing a connection. Okay, and the last one, if you see Gilas, and we are very perceptively talk about interpretation and response by other people. Okay, so if let's say, if I tell you something and I realize that you're going to feel bad if I say that, it am on. I know how you're going to interpret it. Okay, so that is what you're trying to do. I that's why I wanted to show you how through the years the idea of communication has expanded to incorporate a lot more. Okay, three very, very important things. I told you last time that communication elicits action. Elicits meaning that it creates action. Okay, so if you and I are talking about something, let's say in terms of an assignment, and I give you a deadline, the action that you will complete is making sure that you submit it on time. That is what it means to elicit action. Okay, if I tell you the example of, you remember last time I told you if your mom tells you to put the clothes away. So what does that mean? You are eliciting the action of starting to fold your clothes and putting them into the cupboard. Okay, that is what it means to elicit action. Certain times you do find that communication may create certain misunderstandings. Okay, now that would depend on who the sender and who the receiver is. Okay, I'll get to those things. Okay, but in terms of misunderstanding, what that would mean is that if there is misunderstanding, there's a gap, there's a lag. Think of an internet connection that has a lag, okay? Or think of, let's say, if you're watching TV, okay, and you find out that the audio and the video don't sync, okay? I don't know if you've ever experienced that. You can see the lips moving, but the audio is already finished earlier, okay? There is this gap, there's this lag, and it's very irritating, okay? So there is misunderstanding that takes place. When there is agreement is when you can make sure that both parties are on the same page. Okay. When that happens, you realize that communication has reached its focal point. What is the focal point of communication? That it has been able to exchange whatever needs to be said or done, and at the same time, there has been some sort of comprehension of the same. Comprehension, both parties understand what is being done. Okay. Uh, Communication never ceases. Okay, ceases as in stops. Okay, the last time I told you that imagine if you are looking at a river, okay, and there is a rock in between. The river doesn't stop. What happens is that the river parts ways and then flows around the rock. Okay, so therefore it's a continuous process. It will never stop. Okay, let's say even if I take you on let's say I take you to for a field trip, okay, and we go to, let's say, Japan, for example, and you have no idea about the language. What will you do? Before leaving for Japan, you will try and at least learn few things about the language, like how to say hello, and at least do you know English so you can switch. Okay, those are the basic things that you will do. Okay, so what you're trying to do is to make sure that you within that space are not restricted. Okay, so therefore it's a continuous process. It incorporates two things. When I say a biological connect, as in it's not just the formation of words, okay, it's how you process them. Okay, so for example, if I say something, your facial expressions, the tone of your voice, everything delivers